Hello everybody, welcome back. It's been a few weeks as we've been caught up in summertime and folks visiting and all the different things that are going. We're going to stay with these and get back to doing them for you. Today I'm just getting a little bit of wax on, wax off with the car, maybe learning some karate. I don't know, what do you think, producer? No, she says I'm not learning karate. That's not going to work. Well, wax on, wax off is something we have to do to our vehicles, and it is part of the summertime thing for some reason. And that's probably because we have the weather to get out here and do it. But I did want to talk to that a little bit here today. Our vehicles, from the time they're created and built in the factory and turned loose on us, until the time they eventually, I guess, go to the scrapyard, are consistently under assault from the elements that they're built to be in. The sun shines down and it causes damage to the paint surface. Rain falls on them. Birds, as you hear around here, tend to leave their droppings around, and those affect the paint job that we have. Sometimes a little sap or something like that will fall, and we've got to get that stuff off. And I have to say, when I first started taking care of cars, it shocked me. I remember a friend of mine had a car out in a parking lot, and it got some overspray on paint, and he said, "That's okay, I'll just rub that out." This was a long time ago. I said, "Rub it out? What do you mean rub it out?" He says, "Well, I'll grab some rubbing compound like this," and he said, "and I'll just get that stuff right off my paint job." And I looked at that and I thought, geez, abrasive and oxidation, it'll rub that out. And I was shocked to realize that in this process, you actually take some of the surface of the vehicle off in order to get rid of the blemishes and the damages done by the world and get back down to that restored finish that was originally intended. This is something that we have to do and care for our vehicles all the time, consistently, throughout our lives. And that, of course, if you know me well, is what got me thinking. As humans, we too come into this world in a certain aspect of, I don't know if we'd call it perfection, but from the time that we get here until the time we go back into dust, we too are constantly under assault from the elements. Our lives grind us at points into bad attitudes or bad spirits. They grind us down to thinking that there's not good hope or just general negativity at different points in life. And we need to be restored. We need to be brought back as well. I wonder about that as we think. Do we have a plan for this? Is there a good, I suppose we could grab some heavy duty rubbing compound from a nice company that does that and start rubbing it on our skin until we get to a fresh layer, but that wouldn't do much for our spirits, would it? We've got a bird over there that wants to compete, don't we? Yeah, that guy. Hopefully you can forgive me that. And so I was doing some reading on this because, you know, it seems to me like we ought to also have this ability to get our layers peeled back down and get back to the fresh original concept of what we were created to be. And as you would know it, I have a text to share with you. Paul wrote about this, believe it or not, and I'm going to share with you from 2 Corinthians, the second book that he wrote to the church in Corinth, right all the way at the end, chapter 13. This is verse 9 through 11. I would encourage you to read all of the letters, both of the letters that Paul wrote to the Corinthians all the way through, as he really was quite an exhorter for them. They were having difficulties. They were getting worn down and blemished by life. And he recognized that, and he wrote them just beautiful letters of encouragement. This is verse 9 through 11 of chapter 13. "We're glad whenever we're weak, but you're strong. And our prayer is that you may be fully restored. This is why I write these things when I'm absent, so that when I come, I don't have to be harsh in my use of authority." And he qualifies that. "The authority the Lord gave me, not for beating you up," though it starts with a B. He says, "The authority the Lord gave me for building you up, not for tearing you down. Finally, brothers and sisters, rejoice. Strive together for full restoration. Encourage one another. Be of one mind. Live in peace. And the God of love and peace will be with you always." Paul closes his book by telling the Corinthians really what we're here for one another. Not only is he encouraging them, saying God gave us this power and this ability not to beat each other up for the things that we've done wrong, but to restore one another, to encourage and to build up. He says, build up and not tear down. And I have to say, as I contemplate those words, it is so easy in this life to look at people in the ways that they differ from us and to think about being critical and tearing down of that. But Paul tells us that the authority God gives to us for dealing with one another is a building authority, not a tearing down one. Our purpose is to come together and restore one another. And so ask yourself today, if you feel worn down, and I know many of us do, because this life through the pandemic and all the different things and the onslaught of media and everything we get bombarded with, scaring us and making life for us difficult, brings us down and down and down. But there is a plan to build us back up. And God has that in mind when He put us together as a family. This family, this church concept of people is meant to build us up, to restore us, and to give us the opportunity to go back out into the world again, looking nice and bright and shiny like our vehicles do once we get rid of that oxidation coat that makes it look worn and weary. I encourage you to find a family like this, one that'll build up and not tear down. And if you've been with us before and you're not now, I encourage you to come back, because our focus is always going to be on building up. If you're not near us as you watch this, I encourage you to find a family, a group that can come together weekly, daily if you need to, by phone, by Zoom, by text, in person is even better, and build one another up. That is the beauty of God. He created us in a way that we would be able to have the tools to lift one another up. If only we would turn our minds from focusing on what's wrong with each other and amplifying it to looking at those things and saying, you know what, it's okay. A little bit of sun, maybe a little bit of bird poop here or there, but we can fix that by lifting one another up. All right, I got to get back to trying to learn how to do some karate here. Wax on, wax off. Which hand goes which hand there, producer? We'll see you later. Thanks much. Bye-bye.